Made a brand new Roblox account, and I just want to see how long it takes until I see something inappropriate
Like,
in the game.
how is this okay?
A fresh account.
How does this get by that?
All right, never played on it before, and yep, there's a peanut.
Oh, yeah.
What is Hollywood's obsession with the number 923, and more specifically, September 23rd? Why is it in so many movies?
Netanyahu gave like this 2-minute speech about how offensive it was that people say that Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
Talk
some
about it.
video about it, and I was like,
No one said that.
what?
I've never heard that.
Tell me more.
Hey,
See, that's the kind
Segovia, back with another one. Hope everyone out there's having a good day, y'all. On today's episode, we got mysterious videos from TikTok they don't want you to see. Let's get into it, y'all. Let's have some fun. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
And I don't know if y'all remember when Hurricane Katrina happened, a lot of people who they was televised they were letting speak on the news kept saying, yo, there's people out here killing us. Because a lot of people, as they was just walking up the streets or walking to safety, they were getting shot at. Other people were so fearful.
I heard about that.
So I've been watching this documentary.
Was it when the levee broke?
Yeah, when the levees broke.
Yeah, Spike Lee.
I don't know if his documentary, but a lot of black people was like, no, the Caucasian people was killing us.
They said that
we wasn't doing nothing. We was just either trying to get to our roofs or get safety or get some food for our family. But I guess they assumed they was looters and this and that. And they was just, and no investigations happened.
Since you mentioned that, it was a part in when the levees broke, that when the people trying to walk across the bridge instead of wait for the buses, they said it was some people on the other side of the bridge that turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is fair. Like we're not trying to come to y'all town. We just trying to get out of this hell and all this. Because you remember, especially when they put people all in them domes.
Serang lagi, serang.
I think they're pointing bow and arrows at us, bro.
Seriously, this is terrifying. They're huge bows.
So I've got like an offering for them. This is Demi back here, who knows the tribe and who's bringing us in. He's telling us that this is the way to basically bargain our way and try and make them accept us. Got salt.
Put it in your hands.
Put it in my hands?
Open it and then just put it in your hands a little bit. Kakak macam tidak terima kitong full. Kakak rasa buang. Kakak rasa.
Oh God. Okay, he doesn't look like he likes that.
Be careful.
He doesn't like it. All right, guys, let's move back maybe.
We have to go out.
He's not into that.
Not really welcome. It's really dangerous.
I'm not gonna lie, that is absolutely terrifying.
Oh my God.
Demi, they're scary.
I'm sorry I'd take you here.
I talk to guys who are actively consuming blood to live. You know, I'm trying to
because they're active vampires.
They're real vampires.
Yeah.
Like they're not human.
Yeah.
They're not. They also are carrying a completely different set of genetics that's not from man. This is the sons of the fallen still exist here, and some of them just have bastard sons that don't know who they are. Many of them. This is why 23andMe and Ancestry.com gets billions of dollars from Mormons and from secret societies to finance the collection force of looking for their sons. They're looking for their children. They're terrain mapping the environment before they harvest us. That's what they're looking for. There is a path of deliverance and redemption for anything that desires forgiveness, that desires to be in a covenant with the Creator, Yahuwah. They can have that relationship back with Him, no matter what you've done, no matter what you've been through, no matter what's happened to you. There is a path of salvation, because the blood of the Lamb, the words of our testimony, are the most powerful weapons that we have been given as soon as we are set free from the fear of death and holding on to our lives. I had to be willing to let go of what I was promised. I went through hell over and over and over and over and over again. I watched my family and children who were completely innocent be desecrated. And I watched the people that did it grow in power and praise and get presidential nominations. It breaks you when you witness things like that. It makes you enraged, and I wanted to burn them down. I wanted violence for the rest of my life. And you know what? There's someone who will come along and offer you violence. There's someone who will come along, and he came along to me when I was sitting in a sandbox in my parents' house in Flagstaff, Arizona, Patterson Boulevard. It's a little child playing in the sand, and a man in a suit walked up, and he sat down next to me. And he had a presence on him that was nothing like anything I've ever experienced in this life. It was a man of complete authority, total confidence, absolute sovereignty. most people don't interact with kings. They've lost a sense of understanding of what authority and respect looks like embodied. But he had a dominion about him, and I knew he had the kingdom of the earth under his feet. This was the devil sitting next to me, and he looked like an ordinary man, but when he spoke, it was power, it was beauty, it was elegance, and he offered me power. He offered to complete me. He offered me what my earthly father would never give me, which was freedom.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. John said that back in the 80s, when he was a young patrol officer in Phoenix, Arizona, he was the first to arrive at a motorcycle accident. The Harley Davidson was torn apart across the asphalt. The rider, a big man with a thick beard and arms covered in tattoos, lay crumpled beside the wreck. His chest looked wrong, sunken in. Each breath a desperate gasp. "I need to go to confession," he choked out, blood bubbling at the corner of his mouth. "Should have gone yesterday," he said. John said that he knelt beside him, trying to keep him talking, but the man's eyes were wide, darting at things that John couldn't see. "I've done terrible things," he said. "Murder. It's coming for me." His voice broke into a panic chant. "Please, God, help me. God, please help me." Then softer. "It says my soul belongs to him now. It has horns." John said that his last words came out in a trembling whisper. "I'm going to hell," he said. And with the word hell, the man's body gave one last shudder and went still, his expression frozen in horror. The paramedics pulled up less than a minute later, but John knew that they were already too late.
Have you heard about what's going on with JonBenet Ramsey? So why this isn't all over the place, I have no clue. But John Ramsey decided to do an interview with Fox on Friday. Basically, John Ramsey told Fox that over the past 28 years, he has been trying to do an independent autopsy on his daughter. And the Boulder PD ain't having it. I mean, he even went on to say that he heard reliably that one of the members of the police department, I don't know who, told a journalist, "We're just waiting for John Ramsey to pass away." AKA, they want this to go away. Now, John said, "I'm not going anywhere. I don't plan on going anywhere soon. And if I do, my son will take over for me." Now, if you don't remember, the autopsy back in 96 on JonBenet was a little fishy. It revealed that she had passed away from strangulation and a blow to the head. But last time I checked, you can't pass away from two things. It's got to be one or the other. Also, the fact that she had an 8.5-inch fracture on her skull. I mean, she was a small child. That's a massive fracture. Now, not only is Ramsey trying to get the autopsy, he's trying to get other pieces of evidence tested.
All the celebrities get their way. Chrissy Teigen knows about that. Everybody knows about her. John Legend knows about that. Denzel Washington knows about that. Oprah knows about that. Ellen knows about that. Sandra Bullock knows about that. Unfortunately, after a second, Melissa McCarthy knows about that. Jimmy Kimmel knows about that. Since everybody want to leak names, the list goes on. You know, it'll tell you who doesn't know because they were the ones, so adamant. They were the ones filling the social media all April, March, February, and January over traffic. Who was that again? Oh, wait, that was no one. Because, hashtag Me Too went viral. The celebrities that have been, pushing, the blue check mark people that have been since the beginning. Not just when it became a trend. Since the beginning. It's the beginning. Anybody that has met me knows that if I've had to walk away from something and I have to straight out put my shit out there, I'll tell you straight out I've been through some hell.
People are wondering what's happened to the food, why it's so expensive. Here it is on the side of the road. Free oranges.
Look at that. I mean, is that a way that they're saying, if I ain't getting money off this, nobody's getting it? Is that kind of what that is? Why are they dumping it like that? Any farmers out there that know more? Why are they dumping all that? Is it a simple thing they're not paying me enough, so nobody's getting it, or what?
My favorite object that's supposed to be down there is called a chronovisor, and this is an object that lets you see through time. So chrono means time, visor means see. So this is an object that you can see through time. It was invented by his name is Pellegrino Ernetti. Father Pellegrino Ernetti was he was a priest, but he was also a physicist, and he was like an expert at music. And he was working with, I think his supervisor's Father Gemelli. He's working at a university or something. And what they're doing is they're studying Gregorian chants and listening to records and cataloging things. And they're listening to one record, and Father Gemelli says, I recognize that voice. And they play it back, and I'm like, well, who's that? And he's like, that's my father. I'm like, well, what is he saying? He said, well, he's talking about leather and prices, and well, it turns out his father was like a shoemaker, like a cobbler. And he heard his father's voice selling somebody shoes. So they end up isolating these voices and come to the conclusion that all the objects around us are vibrating with an energy and picking up all the conversations. Everything we're saying is getting absorbed into everything around us. And that if you can tune into the right frequency, you can hear that. And if you can really zero in on it, you can see what's going on. And Father Ernetti gets together this group of rock star physicists led by Enrico Fermi, who worked on the Manhattan Project, you know, a heavy hitter, and 9 or 10 others. And they build this device called the chronovisor. And Father Ernetti goes and he looks back at Mussolini's speeches. Then he goes back further and he's looking at watching old Roman plays that no longer exist. And what really put it on the map was he took a picture of Christ's crucifixion and released it. It's a wild photograph because it's Jesus Christ on the cross.
Wow.
And so he releases that to the public, and it hits the newspapers, especially in Italy, like crazy. I think this was the 60s, and becomes a sensation. So I covered that story, but ended up finding out that the Christ in his photograph looks an awful lot like a Christ statue that was carved somewhat recently to that era that was in a cathedral in Spain. And it turned out that's really what it was he had this photograph that he said he saw Christ, but it was just his photograph of the statue. And then he backtracked a little bit and he said, well, you know, this is really the photograph and the statue's based on this, but that's not what happened. So the chronovisor is just this legend, but according to the story, the Vatican releases a statement at some point that says that anyone who's caught trying to look or listen through time is excommunicated.
Let's talk about the Rothschild family and their Surrealist ball and this photo. Now, if you don't know, the Rothschild family is literally one of the richest families in the world, worth trillions. And I've done several videos talking about how they got their money, but basically they're this noble banking family that has been super rich since the 16th century. They used to throw these elaborate balls each year. And some people got this picture and said that this is a picture of the family at one of the balls, and that this figure right here was allegedly the nanny. The nanny is 7 feet tall. Yeah, okay. Then some people said that is absolutely not the nanny, that might be the guest of honor. Might not even be human. But anyways, let's get into this ball, y'all. Basically, they would have it at this chateau in France that was owned by Marie Rothschild and her husband Baron de Guy de Rothschild, something like that. They would have all kinds of elaborate parties. Like the wife loved to host. But when they went to the Surrealist theme, y'all, it got real. So they made their chateau that was I'm talking about Renaissance theme, one of the oldest and biggest chateaus in the area. And I'm talking about so beautiful. They made it appear like it was hell. It looked like the house was on fire. And as you're walking up, you will see these big cat men, literally dressed up like they're human cats, laying on the steps. Then they'll just get up and greet you because they're the butlers. Yep, cat butlers. With all kinds of cobwebs and spiders hanging out for you to be scared out of your mind. Then the plates that was taxidermic tortoises on a bed of roses. The forks was made out of dead fish. And the tables was covered in real life animal fur. It was weird. I guess that's the whole point of the Surrealist theme. Because it's basically this artistic and cultural movement that started around the 1920s. Primarily in France. It's basically different elements of art and literature and all that good stuff combined. And it's supposed to be really cool. But yeah, here's some more pictures of, the things that people wore and did at this ball. Yeah. Very interesting to me. Let me know what y'all think and if y'all would ever attend a Rothschild's Surrealist ball. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Do you remember 1994, summer of 1994, July, when 21 objects of a fragmented comet plunged into Jupiter. Shoemaker leaving 9. This was at the time the most watched astronomical event in history. Here's what happened. This thing is out there, picture. It's circling, going into the sun, going back out, going behind Jupiter and coming back in. It's a big elliptical orbit. Each time it's going out there to Jupiter, Jupiter's gravity is pulling it in closer and closer. Jupiter's gravity field is so powerful that it literally ripped a single comet nucleus into 21 pieces. And that's what you're seeing here, the so-called string of pearls. Now, astronomers can predict orbits if they know what are called the orbital elements. And so it took 3 months of observations, and you've got enough of the ellipse, the orbital ellipse, to reconstruct the whole ellipse. You've also got data on the velocity. So when you put that together into your models with the other orbital elements, you can now make predictions. And so after they discovered this thing just after it's coming around behind Jupiter and in the early stages of breaking apart, and then realized that where it was going to cross Jupiter's orbit, Jupiter was going to be right in that spot. In the second week of July, 1994, these 21 pieces were going to fall into Jupiter.
Okay, so things just got very real between Mexico, the cartels, and United States. So it's all over Mexican media news right now that the cartels put up a banner around Los Cabos, Baja California, Mexico, and they put up a banner calling out Kash Patel, saying that in direct retaliation to him seizing some of their stuff. I guess they had big shipments or something and he seized them. In retaliation, they're going to be, the Americans that are in that area are going to be direct targets. So any American that lives in that area of Mexico is going to be a direct target for retaliation. And now they're saying basically any American in Mexico. So any parts of Mexico is what a lot of other sources are saying. And basically they're saying they're mad because they're saying we run the shots.
Today, message further stated that every American citizen who resides in Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo, it is being targeted, declaring, we are the ones who call the shots and we are the ones in charge.
So this just happened today. I haven't heard any kind of response from our side, but I'm sure we're going to be hearing something soon. But definitely keep the Americans in our prayers. We pray for their safety and that God protects them.
2 things you need to go check on your kids' Roblox accounts, like right now. Like, go ahead and pull it up and do this with me, okay? So you're going to open up their account. It's going to take you to the homepage. You'll see this.
It's like Instagram.
Check their connections. Those are their friends, all right? Go through every single one of those people, especially if your children are young, right? You want to make sure you know exactly who those people are. 2, you're going to scroll down and you're going to see what says continue. What continue is that these are the games your children have played. Make sure you're going into those games and you are understanding what they are being exposed to, okay? Some look so innocent and they're not. They're not. So repost this so other parents can know. Those are the top 2 things you want to check, right? Their friends, who they're playing online with, and what they're playing.
So
I mean, how are these things still being able to be uploaded on this game? I mean, I post the wrong thing on my YouTube, or, you know, if I post something that says the off yourself word, my video is not getting published. That's a word. That's not an image. That's just me saying a word or this saying a word. If I post that on TikTok, you know, or Facebook, anywhere, if I post that word or if I say certain words, my video is not allowed to be out to the public. So how is Roblox not on top of that with young ones? Must be they're okay with it, right?
Made a brand new Roblox account, and I just want to see how long it takes until I see something inappropriate.
Like,
in the game.
how is this okay?
A fresh account.
How does this get by that?
All right, never played on it before, and yep, there's a peanut.
Oh, yep. Wow, that took like what, 2 seconds?
Hey guys, so this week I've been doing my own little off-piece Charlie Kirk investigation. Many of you guys have been following along.
I've connected a lot of dots between the CIA, the LDS community, the Utah Valley University system, and academic centers in Israel, like the Jerusalem Center and Ariel University. I think I've kind of like reached the end of my investigation. And also I'm like kind of getting nervous. Like I couldn't sleep last night at all. But my main question now is, and I would like to turn it over to the authorities, Kash Patel, Donald Trump, this is kind of like for you to answer now. There was a CIA professor at Utah Valley University, Rusty Needs. He was with the CNSS. I saw his bio, his photo just a few days ago, like 2 days ago. I took this picture from the website. I got his bio, everything, and he has now like disappeared. I can't find it anywhere online. If anyone can find it, please let me know. I did have this, which is still on the Facebook page. Anyway, where is Rusty Needs? Hashtag where is Rusty Needs? The CIA agent that works at Utah Valley University. Why has he gone ghost online? Okay, what do you guys think? Comment below.
Hey, just in case you forgot, let me jog your memory. Jerry Seinfeld was 35 years old when he dated a 17-year-old girl that was still in high school. Picked her up from high school and everything. The lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers admitted to statutory of a 14-year-old when he was like 26 in his autobiography, and nothing happened. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote letters of support for Danny Masterson after he was convicted of sexual assault. Jared Leto is a big old creepo who preys on young girls and basically has a cult. A 16-year-old girl overdosed in Don Henley's house, and he responded by writing a song about how the media just wouldn't leave him alone. Cara Malone knocked up a 13-year-old girl. Jack Nicholson hired a prostitute, and then when she asked for payment, he struck the prostitute, hit her head on the ground, and she suffered from permanent brain damage. Roman Polanski drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl and then fled the country. And he is still applauded for his work, especially by his biggest supporter, Meryl Streep. Until next time.
Sell 6.5 million hamburgers a day. And I don't know if y'all know, but 6.5 million hamburgers a day is a lot of hamburgers to be selling. And I know a lot of y'all gonna look at this video and be like, nah, that's a lot. Well, look at this shit. This is why Google is your best friend. Look at that shit right there. Roughly 6.5 million burgers each day. Now, if you do the math on that, that's about 195 million burgers per month that they sell, give or take. Now, my question to you is, where are all these cows coming from? Because 195 million burgers a day, think about that. And I'm not implying anything. I am asking a serious question. Where are all of those cows coming from? Tell me, what state, what city? If you know, I need you to jump in the comments and let me know where are all of these cows coming from, because McDonald's sell 6.5 million hamburgers.
What's that? I mean, it's one of two things, right? Either the one is the big conspiracy we're all thinking, right? They got contracts with hospitals, children, young ones, hospitals, you know, they got contracts, right? Or fake meat, 3D meat. I don't know. Either way, both of them are, I mean, not right, right?
Oh, a girl was doing research on the Rothschilds and then the very next day had a wild incident that completely freaked her out? Tell me more. Yeah, after this girl was doing research on the Rothschilds and how they've risen to where they're at and how they've taken over practically everything in the world, and how she didn't like them for that and the things that they've done, the very next day, a guy, as she's walking her dog, comes sprinting towards her and yells, "Rothschilds," and freaks her out. She starts to back up and wasn't sure what was about to happen, but then the guy took off the other direction, got into an unmarked van, and drove off. Oh, fun! After driving off and then getting home to her residence, there was a note on her door saying, "Be careful who you talk about and how you talk about them." Oh, goody! However, it didn't stop there. Her phone started ringing that night at about 2 in the morning, and all they would say on the phone is, "Rothschilds," and then would hang up. Goody!
The question is, do you think artificial intelligence will one day take over? And I'm hoping you're not going to give me just a yes or no answer. Thank you.
We know that all of these
She said,
inventions,
"Hell no."
the car, the train, the plane,
all of it, came within the last 200 years. We know that these great fires all over the world happened in the 1800s and took basically nobody's life. From basically nobody to billions of people in just the last 200 years, where we are starting to pin the start date of our current timeline down. Because today, we're taking this research a step further. Today, we are looking into the money. On April 2nd, 1792, the U.S. Congress passed the Mint Act, which was the beginning of the dollar. It was also the first country in the world to adopt the decimal system for currency. And now when we go over to the UK and see that they also started to use the British pound in 1707, making it the official currency of the UK, when England and Scotland united to form a single country. Even China making a brand new currency in 1948. This new currency was introduced in 1948, taking over the previous currency, which was introduced in 1889. All of these currencies, all starting within the last 300 years, worldwide, where we can go to Russia and see that their currency also begins in 1704. So apparently, in the 1600s, nobody had any money, and yet we're told that they were knocking out palaces all over the world. I think we're seeing that our timeline really began right around 1700. I think this is when all of the structural things, like governments, banks, the foundation of our civilization, I think this is when it all began. And this is all based on what we're being told, the dates that they provide us, the information that we are given using their data. So we have the top 10 banks in the world based on market cap, with JP Morgan at number 1, with a start date of 1871. Bank of America, starting in 1922. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, started in 1984.
The people who were fighting in these wars were fighting for these buildings. Like, these buildings had been around for such a long period of time. So different people over the time period would inhabit them or take them. And then people around them would fight them for them. And it's crazy because I found pictures of castles with moats surrounding them, and now they don't have that. And then I started thinking through each war in other time periods, and then I started to realize they were fighting for the buildings, which then of course makes you question war. And there was actually this book called The Boys' Book of Airship, and they were talking about flight in 1783, but flight was not actually displayed till 1901 with the World Fair. So it then makes you realise a lot of stuff you've been told actually goes back a lot further than we thought, and there's actually nothing new under the sun. And the more you explore these topics about war, it makes you realise the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers orchestrated them to remove these buildings and the benefits they give to you through the different types of frequencies from their geometrical shapes that they emit, which is another reason they removed all the buildings and reshaped them to be square, because it's dulling of the frequency when you have square buildings.
Do you know how absurd it is that we have property taxes and vehicle registration every year? I want to set a scenario for you real quick, just to see how this feels. Imagine you want a brand new laptop and you go to Best Buy and you spend $1,500 cash and you buy this laptop. And you go home and you open up the laptop that you own, that you worked for and you bought and you owned and paid taxes on, and you own it. And the next day you get a letter in the mail from the IRS, and the IRS goes, hey, we saw you bought a $1,500 laptop. You owe us $10 a month in perpetuity. And if you don't pay the $10 a month, we're going to take your laptop. So you're basically just renting it from us. What if you rented an apartment and bought a $1,000 sectional couch, and you're so excited and you're sitting on that couch and there's a knock at the door and it's an IRS agent going, hey, we saw you bought a $1,000 couch. You owe us $5 a month in perpetuity. And if you don't pay the $5, we're going to take your fucking couch. That's what they do with housing. That's what they do with our vehicle. You can work 30 years, pay off your fucking house. It's worth $400,000 and you have to pay $500 a month in perpetuity, and the $500 goes up every couple of years. And if you don't pay it, they can take your fucking house. With our car.
So if you guys buy the Great Value bottled water, or any bottled water from anywhere, please check the caps. This is the second bottle out of this big pack that I have refused to drink because there is a teeny tiny hole. You see it?
Better pour some water out to prove it.
Punctured right in the top. And this is the second bottle that I found, and you can, I haven't opened this one yet, so the seal isn't broken, but I don't know what's going on. I don't trust most big corporations or people that work in them. But just check your water, and if it has a hole like that, please don't drink it. It's better to be safe than be sorry.
I mean, you can feel which water. Like, I don't know how true that is, because I've had waters that, you know, have a slight leak, and they are very, very flimsy, right? Like when you open it, the air like expands it. So when it's cracked or something, those water bottles are very, not brittle, but very, you know, you can touch both sides together, right? So I don't know about that one, but still, if there's something, a little hole in your water, of course, don't drink it.
Room 434, where the yellow light fell upon the thick carpet, where steam still clung to the mirror, and the final knock on the door sounded, became the deepest cut in music history. But what truly shook the world was not just that Whitney Houston was found there, but what the FBI actually discovered inside, things that had never seen the light of day, details powerful enough to dismantle every theory and completely change the story we thought we knew. It wasn't just the unopened champagne bottle, the spoon with lingering white powder, or the tightly rolled foil papers. It was a chaotic, mystery-laden tableau, pieced together from countless fragments of truth, invisible hands that had interfered with the scene, traces that were wiped clean before justice could reach them. That room didn't just contain an end, it also concealed a chilling warning about the dark side of fame. And before you join me in stepping through the door of 434 to uncover the secret that forced the world to look at Whitney with different eyes, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any stories that touch upon the deepest part of the truth. It's often said that some hotel rooms don't just hold the secrets of their former guests, but also their very last breaths. Room 434 at the Beverly Hilton was one such room. On the night of February 9th, 2012, Whitney Houston checked in, preparing to attend a pre-Grammy party. A radiant image of her in a long coat, holding a paper bag from a nearby restaurant, smiling at a few people who recognized her as she entered the hotel lobby. No one suspected that this would be the last time she appeared in public with such a peaceful demeanor. The contradiction began at this very moment. As brilliant as the flashes of light were outside, a completely different atmosphere hung behind the door of room 434. According to a floor attendant, she brought back a hamburger, french fries, and a chicken sandwich, a seemingly simple dinner for someone who had just finished a tiring practice session. When the FBI entered, the meal was still unfinished, pieces of fries left abandoned, as if the eater had gotten up midway, thinking they would return immediately. On the table, a bottle of champagne was open, and a few half-drunk cans of beer sat nearby. But the toxicology report completely contradicted this. There was no trace of alcohol in her system. This was not just an unusual detail, but an unsolved question. Who were those drinks for? An FBI agent recounted that the first thing he noticed wasn't the room's disarray, but a very faint scent of olive oil weaving through the air. It wasn't the smell of expensive perfume that artists often wear, but the familiar scent of the oil Whitney often used for bathing. A small, simple habit that no one who hadn't been close to her would have known about.
So I'm walking home, right? And I see all of these bags of chicken meatballs. I'm like, why on earth would a restaurant, where would these be coming from? You know what? Cater to You Kitchen. You pay for catering and you get chicken meatballs from a box.
You guys,
I mean, that people pay so much money. I don't know what that cater for you. I'm just thinking like these places that you can go online and you see all these content creators saying, you know, they get their beef delivered and it's grass fed and it's the healthiest, the best of the best. You know, we make your meals for you so it's easy and they're healthy. You want keto meals, you want carnivore meals, you want, you know, flexible dieting meals, you want high protein meals. You're getting frozen processed food, y'all. You got to think people are trying to make money. It's a business. They don't care. I'm sorry, but they probably don't care about your health or nothing. They just want you to buy. That's the hard truth right there, y'all. That's the hard truth. And you see it right there. Cater to You. They probably charge so much to cater. And they're buying meatballs from Sam's Club's frozen section.
Drake security guards. And according to them, Drake had put a green light on you.
Absolutely.
That said that, you know, he said that when they see you, to fuck you up, and he'll cover all the expenses and pay them and, you know, whatever else. This is true.
This is a fact. We was at the iHeartRadio Music Festival. I really cannot remember what year it was, but I know that these guys They were doing security for G-Eazy at the time. I can't remember their names, but I remember how they looked, and they were like massive, like monsters. You know, oh man, I mean, if you trying to put on like a show, like those the guys that you want around you. You know what I mean? And they look like they get busy, they look like they put in some work. And I remember, you know, one of them just came up to me and we just started having a conversation. He told me, he was just like, man, you don't even know, like, you know, back in the day, it was a go for you. Like if you like we had, you know, instructions, like when you see him, do whatever it is you got to do and don't worry about it. And I'm like, what? And then that's when they told me they used to, you know, do security for Drake. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. You know, I've never been delusional. I'm not a delusional person. I'm not one of those people that gets in front of the camera or gets on the microphone and acts like, you know, there's not a cost to everything that comes out of my mouth. Yeah. I think that we live in this era where people think free speech is free. It's not. Yeah. Every single word that comes out of your mouth, there's a cost to it. And you got to be willing to ask yourself, are you willing to pay that price?
What is Hollywood's obsession with the number 9/23? And more specifically, September 23rd? Why is it in so many movies? Yes, it's August, and that's what we talk about in August. 9/23, September 23rd. Stay with us, all right? I will never call this a coincidence. Not because I hate coincidences, but because I can see this no other way than predictive programming. What's that have to do with anything? It has to do with everything, because the number 9/23 and September 23rd shows up in so many films. It shows up in TV shows all over the place. It is freaking crazy. This video is for entertainment purposes only from here on out, all right? This number shows up all over the place in other films, TV shows, even cartoons, and always near disasters, vanishings, or the fall equinox. But no matter what I say, most people just say it's a coincidence. But in conspiracy theory circles, there's a theory called the revelation of the method. The basis of that theory, it claims that elites must disclose their intentions before they act, not openly, but symbolically, through movies, through music, through numbers. And if they tell you ahead of time, even in fiction, and you do nothing about it, then karmically, at least, they're in the clear. Your silence becomes consent. And that's where the number 9/23 comes in. In the movie, The Number 23, starring Jim Carrey, it's a movie about obsession. A man who sees the number 23 everywhere, and he starts to believe it's evil. At one point in the movie, someone says September 23rd, the day hell arrives. So, why that date? Why that number? Looking at TV, the show Lost premiered on September 22nd, 2004, one day before 9/23. It's about a plane crash, a mysterious island, a looping timeline, and another TV show called Manifest. A plane disappears mid-flight, then returns 5 years later. That show premiered on September 23rd. In Emergence, a strange child survives a crash and seems to have powers. It also aired on 9/24. These aren't just shows. They're all centered around planes, missing time, identity shifts, and they all cluster around September 23rd, even animated shorts like I Pet Goat 2. Some believe 9/23 isn't just a date. It might be a code, a countdown, a test to see who's paying attention at all. Because if we spot it, we might start to ask questions. And if we don't, they just freaking keep going. They just proceed. This aligns with occult tradition. The idea that you must symbolically warn your target before you act. In films, this shows up as numbers, dates, ritual scenes. In music, it might be lyrics or stage sets. You ever heard "Wake Me Up When September Ends"? In all cases, the method is the same. Tell them, hide it in plain sight, and if they ignore it, your hands are clean. Maybe 9/23 doesn't mean something's gonna happen on September 23rd. Maybe it's just about the patterns. Maybe the pattern is more important than the date. Because if we see it over and over again, but never ask why, then we've already played our part. You played your part? Are you ignoring this? Am I freaking crazy? I feel a little bit crazy, all right? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Damn it, man.
I like his outro. Damn it, man. That was clean.
Benjamin Netanyahu gave like this 2-minute speech about how offensive it was that people said that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Made some video about it, and I was like,
no one said that.
Like what?
I've never heard that.
Tell me more.
See, that's the kind of shit that I think when they plant information like that, and then it becomes true, right? Because then people online do start saying it.
Yeah.
So you're just feeding the false narrative becomes a real narrative. And he goes, see?
Well, it could be that he got hoodwinked. He's an older dude, right? So he's probably not on TikTok. He probably doesn't have his thumb to the pulse of the young people. Like, Trump didn't understand when he would go to his rallies and he would talk about the vaccine, the people would boo. He didn't understand. He's like, why are they booing? The vaccine was amazing. I did it. It was all me. And they're like, no, we don't like the vaccine. He didn't know. So he doesn't have his thumb on the pulse.
Right.
So if someone comes to him, BB, they're saying we did it. We didn't do it. They're saying we did it. You really need to respond.
Well, I'll tell people that we didn't do
and
it.
then he goes out and responds, well, he looks like he did it now. A bunch of people in Israel trying to get rid of him, too. The day of October 7th, the day before, there was thousands of people in the streets protesting him.
Right, they don't like him.
Well, there's some people that do. There's some people that don't.
Sure.
Just
I
like
didn't know
Trump.
that.
You know, you could say, oh, the Americans hate Trump. No, half the Americans hate Trump. Half the Americans think he's the shit. They love it.
Thermonuclear.
I didn't know that the day before that happened, they were out protesting like to get him out. And then this happened. And didn't America, I forgot, like, didn't we pay Saudi Arabia or something? Like billions of dollars over, like, you can't use this for, warlike crimes or something. But it's like, okay, you give me $1 million, but I'm not allowed to use your $1 million. Well, I'll just use my $1 million and put your $1 million for that million. You know what I'm saying? So I think that happened, that we funded where Hamas is like from or something, like Saudi Arabia. I forgot where, but we gave them a bunch of money. And then the next day that happened, or the next week or something that happened. But I didn't know they were out protesting them like that. That's crazy. That's a crazy coincidence.
If there's a global thermonuclear war, you're not like, it's going to be miserable to survive. You might as well.
There's no place.
If it's a global war, we're all done.
Well, it would
Because
have
clouds
to
are
be a
going to be
global
terrible.
war. If one nuke gets shot, they all get shot, right?
Not necessarily. I know that's what people out there say.
That's what I saw your interview with Andy Jacobson.
Correct.
That was amazing.
And Annie and I disagree on this. And we disagree on this, and we have context where we agree on this. And Annie is a fantastic person in general, and then a fantastic person to talk to about this too. Strategic nuclear weapons are essentially, you shoot one and everybody's going to launch. That's the policy. Whether or not people will actually execute on the policy is a different
called
story.
Launch on warning, right?
Or like response. Launch response.
Like the idea, as far as I understand it, is if our satellites detect a rocket being launched in Pyongyang, we have to make a decision within like minutes to empty our Minutemen missiles, because they're stationary, like they're vulnerable there. So it's use it or lose it.
Correct. And everything you just laid out is correct. We have to find a way to make that decision. We only have a few minutes to make that decision. Our destruction is guaranteed. It's just a matter of whether or not we're willing to commit to someone else's destruction in the process. And for me, that's a big variable in the process. And let's also, as ridiculous as this might sound, if you were Pyongyang, if you were Russia, if you were China, and if you were going to engage in thermonuclear war against the United States,
it's suicide.
5 minutes before you launch your missile, you try to assassinate the president. Because guess who's the only person that can launch the missiles? The president. So if you assassinate the president 5 minutes before you launch your missile.
Can you say that one more time?
If you are any thermonuclear capable country.
Yes.
And you're preparing a launch against the United States, 5 minutes before you launch your missile, you attempt an assassination of the president.
Who would do the assassination?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether you do it or whether you hire somebody else to do it. What matters is that you don't launch that missile until you know if the assassination was successful or not. Because if the assassination is successful, the only person who can open the football is now dead. You launch your missile, and now the warning comes across, and now the DOD is like, the president needs to access the football. Well, the president is now the vice president. Unless the vice president is sitting next to the president when they're assassinated, there's a logistical challenge getting the football to the vice president.
Yeah, it's a chain of command.
And now time's a ticking. So if you really wanted to play out thermonuclear war, it's not just going to be somebody launches a missile. It's going to be assassination attempts, distractions, bombings, all sorts of stuff that happens to distract and delay the time frame before the U.S. can make its counter-launch decision. That's if we're talking strategic missiles, which I don't think anybody would use. I think people would use tactical battlefield nukes before they ever use strategic nukes.
So one thing I noticed about the Strip in Las Vegas, and it's really unfortunate, is folks, there's no people. This is usually daytime, nighttime, it doesn't matter. It's loaded with people. Where's everybody? How crazy is that?
That looks eerie. This is 115 out, maybe.
It's scary how true this is. Watch.
Have you ever heard the metaphor of the buffalo and the cows?
No, please share.
Buffalo and cows, they can both sense when a storm is coming. Big, terrible rainstorm's coming, they both sense it. And cows, they take off running away. Buffalo, they sense the storm and they run right at it. They run right into the storm. And I compare that to trauma. We're just creating a generation of cows where we're making it okay for us. We just let them run away from it and not deal with it. And the cool thing is cows, as they're running away from the storm, they get tired. The storm catches up with the cows, and the cows keep running. They don't stop. If they stop, let the storm pass. No, they just run with
stay
the
in the storm.
So they're in this misery and shame and guilt. They're in this way longer than they have to be. The buffalo, they run into the storm, and it's terrifying. Once you get past that first initial scare, that fear, and you get in the storm and then the storm passes, then they're happy and they're rested, and then they can enjoy what the storm gave them, the water and the grass and all that stuff.
Andrew Kovic from TPUSA has just...
I like that. I like that. And they can enjoy what the rain gave them, the grass, the fresh fruits on the floor, whatever. That's clean. I like that. That's clean, because after the storm, y'all, it's beautiful. Once you get through that storm in life, it's tough when you're in it. You want to run and try to get away from it. There's no escaping it. Embrace it. Embrace the pain. Once you've been through one storm, you know this will pass. When it passes, I'm going to be rewarded something if I channel this pain right. If I use this pain to my benefit. But if you use this pain the opposite way, that's running from the storm, right? But if you embrace it, do something positive with it, sky's the limit for you. Watch out. You know what I mean?
And confirmed that the text messages that Candace Owens revealed are authentic. In fact, he was in the group message. So for everybody who was rushing to the comments saying that they were fake, listen to this.
Charlie, but I want to take the start of this show to address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there. I first want to say the reason I didn't share that screen grab publicly is because it was a private exchange, and I felt like it didn't necessarily comport with things that were already public. I wanted to not betray my friend's trust in that way.
So Andrew Kovic confirms that the texts are real. I pray this is a lesson learned for different people who was quick to come to the comments and lie about a truth that they didn't know. Let's not be so quick to jump on different things, brothers and sisters. Make sure you have the truth before you say this is that. He goes into deeper conversation about the whole situation.
I'll explain.
We're going to go into deeper discussion on Patreon. If you want to join, go to patreon.com/IsaiahRobin, where there's nothing but unfiltered truth and where we can't get banned. Amen. Join us as we talk about everything that he says. May the truth come out. Amen. That's really all we want. God bless. Shalom.
Got a little text message from my niece, and I got a little emotional if any of you guys saw that. I'll explain a little more at the end of the video, y'all.
I don't think what Mr. Beast does is nothing.
So the owner of OnlyFans is reportedly the largest donor to AIPAC, which is an Israeli lobbying group in the United States. Huh. How interesting. I don't want to ask too many more questions.
I'm not bugging. Watch when she start crying. He's going to be mouthing the words she's saying like they rehearsed it. Watch.
I will tell my friends to keep your babies close to you.
Am I bugging? Come on, bro.
Is there a new documentary on this or something? Because a lot of this has been popping up in my TikTok timeline. Now, I know I'm seeing a lot of things from things like that were older that happened in the beginning of the year. Like those are starting to resurface. I don't know if this John Bonet thing is one of those, or is there a new documentary out on Netflix that I don't know about? So it's like getting resurfaced. But I've been seeing a lot of this, but I have also been seeing a lot of old clips pop back up in the algorithm, y'all. This algorithm is changing since they made the switch. You know what I mean? It's a big difference.
Did you know
that these people found an underground passageway under the Mississippi River. These people found a passageway running from one side of the Mississippi River all the way under it to the other side, down and running diagonal to the river. Roll the corn. Did you know that while building the bridge that's over the top of the Mississippi River in the St. Louis and Illinois area, these people hit solid rock, megalithic stones, big as the stones that's in Egypt, at the bottom of the Mississippi River, and they couldn't break it. So they drained the water back a little bit, started bombing the stone. They finally bombed a hole in the stone, right? The little amount of water that was there rushed down into the hole, right? They grabbed ladders, torches, any kind of light they had, went down there. First thing they see on the wall, melanated people. Egyptian style heads and headdresses on the wall under the Mississippi River. You think I'm bullshit, don't you? This story is 100% true. We know the truth now.
Will be taken.
It's like, fuck, I fucked up.
Guys, we may have just witnessed history. Yesterday, 22-year-old inventor Julian Brown ran the first ever muscle car on plastiline. His 110-octane gasoline he converted from plastic waste. As the live stream from Atlanta showed, he turned on the car to demonstrate there was no fuel inside. And sure enough, it didn't start. He then filled the car with a canister of plastiline, pressed the button, and the rest is history. Now, to be clear, Julian Brown didn't invent pyrolysis. Converting plastic to fuel is a well-established process that's been around for decades. But he did invent the world's first solar continuous microwave pyrolysis reactor, which fundamentally changes how expensive and renewable this process is. And he did all of this without the backing of large corporations, and he was able to build this in his own backyard with a box of scraps. Now, he says his reason for doing all of this is to send a message to the world that people are no longer going to wait for big corporations or big government to do what needs to be done.
Because this is our world. This is our Earth. And we care and we protect it.
In fact, in May, he even got his plastic diesel scientifically tested and it passed with flying colors. The lab even went as far to say that Julian's diesel had better emissions than regular diesel.
I thought it was surprisingly well distilled. I thought it was surprisingly clean as well for plastic. And it blew my mind that plastic could be redistilled into diesel.
He says his end goal is to get this in the world and where it needs to be.
Let's get it in the world. Let's get it implemented how it needs to be, because that's the whole point of why I started this. And so that's the strive and the move, without a doubt, to get this where it needs to be.
I mean, good for him, right? Protect that man at all costs. I know I watched that the other day, and he did have some big security guards around him. But what's so sad is, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but it's not going to make it to a gas station near us, y'all. It's taking away too much money from these big corporations. You know what they'll do before that happens. And this right here could change the world. You know how much plastic is just, I mean, we saw that Netflix documentary overspending or whatever that was. And there's mountains of plastic. There's a big old plastic off the coast of the Pacific Ocean, bigger than Texas. Just plastic sitting in the middle of the ocean that can probably fuel the country for I don't know how long. I don't know how many miles per gallon that plasticine gets, but man, that could really change the game. And even if it brought, we still had to pay for it. Even I would pay for it, right? If I got the same amount of miles per gallon, but this guy's like, we're not going to charge you $4. We're going to charge you $1.50 a gallon. Let's do it, right? I'm willing to pay for it, even though it's plastic and, just trash. Hey, I'll still pay for that. You know what I mean? I'll support a young entrepreneur, but it's got to get the right miles per gallon. I don't want to get, half a gallon, half a mile per gallon or whatever. I don't know what that stats are, but protect the man at all costs. Long story short.
Peter Thiel is. I need to give you some context. Peter Thiel might be the most dangerous man in America today. He's a tech billionaire, and he got his start by raising a cool $1 million from his friends and family and getting into venture capital in 1996. His first big break was PayPal. You may have heard of the PayPal Mafia, people like Elon Musk, David Sachs, Reid Hoffman, Peter Thiel. Thiel founded his most infamous company, Palantir, in 2003. Today, Palantir is laying the groundwork for the digital mass surveillance state that's slowly being rolled out across the United States, with the ultimate goal of predicting crime before it happens, pre-crime. It's been their dream for a long time. Palantir started as a digital mass surveillance platform for the battlefield. Its technology has been tested and honed by the IDF on the Palestinians in the West Bank, as well as in American combat theaters across the Middle East. And at this point, a lot of the details of how Palantir's programs work are actually shrouded in top secret classifications that come with its numerous Pentagon and intelligence agency contracts. But Peter Thiel is way spookier than just Palantir.
That would be enough to collapse the current paradigm and change the whole planet.
The most evil, demonic brands in America today, it's crumble cookie. There are more ingredients in that, I think, than a Coke. The serving size is just a small portion of that whole cookie. And I mean, that right there has more sugar than you should have in like a week. There's a ton of ingredients. I mean, gasoline is probably cleaner than a crumble cookie. The owner is making millions of dollars off this product and really poisoning the American people. He does this house tour on Instagram and he's got like a whole health and wellness room and set up in there. And I'm like, this is the most evil thing I've ever seen. You're working on your health and wellness while you are making money basically the health of Americans. It's diabolical. It reminds me of the Sackler-Purdue story. They create this product, Oxycontin. They know that it's starting what we now know is the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
Americans are dying. They're getting sick. Crime is rising. They know it's the pill. They do nothing because they're making so much money. And I feel like we're going to have the same similar story with Crumble.
That's scary.
What is going on in Hollywood? Yeah, I live in the Hollywood area, and I've been here half my life, and yeah, it's nuts. We all know it's crazy, and these people are insane. But what the hell is going on with people's faces? Let's take a look at Megan Fox's new face. And by the way, that's the name of her baby.
She used to be so hot,
Saga
Blade.
What
happened? Damn, she was
Baker.
bad.
But what's going on with the face? She used to be so attractive.
Yeah.
What happened to that? Not only that, what happened to Zac Efron? He used to be an attractive guy, and now let's take a look at his face. What is that? That looks like a cross between a tan David Hasselhoff and the Incredible Hulk. What is going on? Did you see Miley Cyrus lately? Let's take a look at her face. Why is a young girl like that? Why is she getting buccal fat removal? What are they doing? Stop.
I learned that what they are pretending is scientific research is actually directed energy weapons platforms. One of the more concerning ones contemporarily would be things like voice-to-skull technology. Voice-to-skull technology would be the ability to have what I call intrusive thoughts, a voice in your head. Like imagine if I had a microphone and I could transmit, but the receiver was in your head. So now if I had the ability to mimic your voice and deliver that to you, I can now start putting my thoughts into your head.
How often is this happening?
I'm concerned that it's been an ongoing activity for a couple of decades now to the general population of this planet. I think that the Neuralink is a distraction, and it gives the false pretense that you need some sort of hardware installed to make that connection. I do not believe that Neuralink is required. I wholly believe in the potential for there to be a massive amount of technology that could be applied that, for all practical purposes, to the average person on this planet would be very convincing that something off-world is coming on-world.
An alien false flag.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that could happen?
Absolutely. I think it's going to happen probably pretty soon. It'll be similar to when 9/11 got us the Patriot Act. We lost a lot of rights when 9/11 occurred.
We sure did.
Begin transmission.
Here we go.
The only curse word is the one that you don't get offended by, and that's damn. And in order for it to be a curse word, you have to damn someone. The other stuff,
like, damn you.
Fornication under the consent of the king. That's no. Wait, hold on. Quit laughing because we're programmed to think that certain things is funny. Fornication under the consent of the king. This is what it was called in British. That's British slang. Shit is the word excrement, which is one of the original words for the original God. Pre-dynastic Set was called shit. That's where the word comes from. You see what I'm saying? That's where the word comes from. Okay, then we have the motherfucker term. Well, let's break that down. In the concept of when you're talking about the netters, Horus, in one mythology, being born from his mother is called fecundation. Look up that word, fecundation, where the son makes love to the mother. Now, this is not no incest thing. What it's talking about here is ultimately you are all connected to the divine feminine.
If this isn't proof, then I don't know what is.
It says, because I live with Satan. Listen carefully. Raise your hands if you heard that. Quite clear, quite obvious. Let's listen on. Backwards it says the piper's calling to join him, or forward. Backwards it says the Lord turned me off.
Thinking about it, these aren't just lyrics, it's coded straight into the music. And if that's music, it's going straight into us. Music isn't just entertainment, it's frequency, which can shift your emotions, your thoughts and even your decisions without you ever realising it. If that's being layered into songs that we hear every day, the question is, what is it really doing to us? More importantly, who is behind it? I've got some ideas, and I know you have too. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below.
Let's talk about Lady Gaga. I came across this disturbing clip from SNL when Lady Gaga hosted it. I was mind blown. As if that wasn't disturbing enough, here we see the trademark checkerboard floors behind the scene. If you know, you know. But it gets even worse. Roll it.
By the mother of beasts, the mistress of insanity, the magician Pazuzu cannot save you now. He's the roar of the demon dog.
And if that wasn't disturbing enough, look at the last part of the scene. Again, in the background, we see the trademark checkerboard floors. In the second clip I played for you, some of the names they're using for those bad spirits, we'll say, are legitimate. But I'm sure, as always, guys, it's just all entertainment. No chance that they're putting the truth right in front of our faces.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Wake up.
I'm Roberto. He walked us around the Mayans, the ruins, and he explained to us how the sun moves in a figure 8. So you would say that the earth does not move, then the sun and the moon.
For Mayas, yes. The sun is the one move.
Yeah? In the earth. So you say the earth does not move?
No move.
So would you consider the earth being flat?
Yeah, flat. That's why they're using the shell, of the turtle. The chest represents the earth, and the shell shape, the domus.
The dome,
Yeah.
the firmament.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Now, y'all come see Roberto down here. And where are we at now?
Tulum, Piña House.
That's right. See ya.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
The person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat, and 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Felt like that was a good reaction we had today. Not too much talking, not too less talking, right? If you made it this far, you know what to do. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. A couple things, y'all. We're going to get into a rant. One thing, my niece just texted me. She's been trying so hard to do her realtor thing. She's been trying. And you know that famous picture of, like, it's a drawing of somebody digging, right? And then they're about to get to the diamonds, but they quit and they're walking away. And the diamonds are like right there. She was getting there. She was getting there. She was saying, I got to go, I got to figure something out. I want to go to school to do something else. I know this maybe not for me. She stuck with it, got under contract with her first, sale of a house. So, proud of her. Shouts out to her. Y'all made me a little sad seeing that, because I love to see people win. I love to see, just anybody. I love to see anybody win in life. Like hard work does pay off, y'all. Hard work does pay off. And another thing, I know I told you guys October 1st, we were going to start, doing a little challenge, right? A little sober October, right? Now I'm sober from alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs, nothing. So I'm not trying to get that sober. My sober was trying to eat clean, right? Trying to eat clean foods. Now, October 1st, I started. By October 4th, 3 of the 4 days I ate bad. Doing keto, carnivore, just this never-ending cycle I always go on. I've been in Texas for two and a half years, I think, and I've been trying to do keto and carnivore since I've been here, and I gained 50 pounds. So I started thinking, I've been on and off, but it's just not for me, y'all. It's just not. So from Saturday, I don't know what date Saturday was, from Sunday to today, Wednesday, I've dropped 6 pounds, y'all. 6 pounds. Not really doing a lot of exercise. You know, I go out for walks here and there. I was trying to get 10,000 steps, but with the baby, it's hard. So, you know, I just go walk. I go do yard work. I go blow my yard, water the plants, pull some weeds, right? Be surprised how much steps you get with that. But, you know, doing that, I've lost 6 pounds, y'all. And all I did was count my calories. That's it. I'm trying to hit my protein, which is kind of easy because I start my day off with a protein shake and a yogurt with high pro. I start my day with like 45 grams of protein right there to start the day, right? So, and I'm fasting. That's another big thing. I'm doing fasting, y'all. I've been fasting 16 hours. Today I fasted for like 17 and a half hours, but I try to do 16 and 8, right? But, you know, just doing this, of course, I don't feel as good as I would if I was doing keto this long. Like my brain would be a lot better, but I do feel focused. Like when I'm watching these videos, I'm in it. I'm focused on it. You know what I mean? I don't feel 100%, but I know with time it'll come with the fasting. But I am eating a lot of carbs. I'm eating about, I try to be under 200. I track everything, MyFitnessPal. I weigh out a lot of stuff, especially things that I know I can overeat on, like baked chips or, you know, certain things I weigh out. I don't really weigh out my meats. You know, I don't really weigh that stuff out, but you know, my things I know I can overeat on, I weigh it out. So, you know, it's been going good. I've been doing good. I haven't been waking up in the morning with energy, but I noticed today when I was walking down the stairs, I didn't really hurt a lot. My ankles, my knees didn't really hurt from all that inflammation. So I think the fasting has helped a lot, y'all. So that's what I've been doing, y'all. Just fasting and eating my calories. At my weight, I'm allowed to eat about 2,500 calories to maintain. So I cut it down to like 1,800 calories, 1,900 calories. That's more what I'm focused on. I'm not really focused on protein. I'm trying to hit it every day, like 130 to 150 grams of protein. But you know, if I'm having trouble with it, the end of the day, I'm just trying to get between 18 and 1,900 calories a day, y'all. And I've been dropping like a pound a day. I've been dropping weight pretty good. So I'm gonna continue to stick to this, see how long I can go and just see how good. Like Mama Bear went and got a burger today. Usually I'm like, fuck yeah, give me one, give me a burger. Today I was like, nah, I'm just not craving it. When you're on keto, when I'm on keto, I crave it. I'm like, I want it because I'm not allowed to have it, so I want it. But now that I'm allowed to have it, I'm like, nah, it's kind of, if I would have known earlier in the day, I would have fixed my calories out so I can have that, right? And maybe skip lunch. And that way I can have a nice burger and fries. Because it won't kill you, y'all. It won't kill you. But with me, when I would have that burger and fries, I'd have to get a bag of chips with that for dessert. Big bag of chips. That's another 1,200 calories right there. So if you guys want me to go in deeper on it, I can start going in deeper because I love talking diet and all that. Y'all, I used to be somebody that growing up, I was, you know, high school 185 bony, got put on depression pills, went through life, ballooned up to 250. Since then, my weight has been up and down. I've always been a bony, skinny, athletic kid, y'all. I've always been that. Since I got on those depression pills, I blew up with weight. I've been all the way up to 278 and I've been all the way down to 195 and I've just fluctuated up and down from there. So I know how to lose weight, y'all. I know how to do it. I know right now it don't look like it, but we're just going to continue riding this boat and, you know, see how far it can take us, y'all. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow on the next one, y'all. This is Segovia. I'm signing out the Man Cave. Later.